Hello! Welcome to the tutorial presentation for usability testing in Auburn University's IDEA Lab. IDEA stands for Instruction in Design, Evaluation, and Accessibility, and our lab is used by students in technical and professional communication, as well as faculty in the English department. I am Melissa Flowers, a current student and intern in the lab, and I will be guiding you through some procedures and tips for using the lab equipment and software. Usability testing is an important part of any design process, and by testing the usability of a document or website, you are working as a mediator between the document's designers and the users of the finished product. As a tester, before even entering the lab, your top priority should be to write a clear and appropriate test plan. Some questions to ask yourself as you prepare your test plan are: what tasks should the participants complete? What are some typical scenarios or user interactions with the document you have chosen to test? For example, if you are testing the Pizza Hut website, you should have your participants order pizza, not apply for a job with the company. What will you measure for each test? It is important to know before you even begin testing what exactly you are testing. For example, what part of ordering a pizza is important to test? You might not really care much about the types of toppings the user wants, but you may care about how the user manages the site navigation. How will you determine what is successful or complete? Make sure everyone in your group is on the same page, and then when you analyze your data, you can form some recommendations based on what the users were or were not able to do, such as, did the users miss an important step in ordering their pizza? You could then recommend that the web designers of the Pizza Hut site revise their site's instructions or navigation accordingly. Do you have both qualitative and quantitative measures? The software in the IDEA Lab provides ways of measuring quantitative data, such as mouse clicks or time. And you can also plan to collect qualitative data, such as the participants' perceived difficulties with the test or their prior experience with the document. What will each person do once your group is in the lab? For the next few slides, I will explain the lab equipment so you can know the testing process and can decide how to divide the responsibilities of testing among the members of your group. The IDEA Lab is located on the 8th floor of the Haley Center, and you can schedule an appointment in the lab by emailing the lab interns or assistants. There are two sides to the IDEA Lab, and a room divider marks this divide. The test room side is where your test participants sit to perform your test tasks, and the control room side is where you can observe the test in progress and take notes for your future reference. Morae is the name of the usability software we use in the IDEA Lab, and there are three components to the software. They are Morae Recorder, Morae Observer, and Morae Manager. Morae Recorder records the test participant as he or she is completing your tasks. This happens on the test room side of the lab. Morae Recorder records the screen, webcam, and microphone all at once, so you have a record of the participants' actions on screen, their facial expressions, and commentary. Morae Observer connects to the recorder, and it allows you to observe the test in progress and log your observations. This happens on the control room side of the lab. Examples of observations you may log could be when the participant frowns, or when the participant has to be prompted, or when the participant gives the wrong answer. Morae Manager allows you to manage all of your test recordings and observations. After all of your test participants have finished, you can upload your recordings into Manager, and from there you can analyze your data and collect it into graphs and video clips for easy presentation. First, I will show you Morae Recorder in more detail. The software is used on the test room side of the lab, here. Here is a picture of the Morae Recorder startup screen. You can manipulate your recording settings from this screen. You can also modify the task definitions and study details from this screen. Why would you do this? It allows you to personalize what the Morae software is measuring, and this configuration is saved throughout each of your tests and recordings. For example, instead of just having Morae measure something called Task 1, you could input this definition of the task instead. Find out how to order a pizza with mushrooms. This doesn't count as a substitute for a task scenario, which is the scenario or instructions you actually give your participant, but it is helpful when you come back to analyze your data later. So what does a recording look like? Morae Recorder records the participant's face, voice, mouse movements and clicks, and the screen image they are interacting with. Next, I will show you Morae Observer in more detail. This software is used on the control room side of the lab. Here is a picture of Morae Observer as it looks during a test. The observer has typed some observations into the log. For example, the participant looks confused. These observations are then saved as markers within the recording file. You can later measure the number or distribution of those markers. And finally, I will show you Morae Manager in more detail. The Manager software is also on the control room side of the lab. After your testing is complete, you'll schedule another appointment for your group to return to the lab and analyze your data. The analysis stage is where you determine what your data has suggested. This is why measurable scenarios are so important, and you can justify your recommendations on what your data has suggested. Morae Manager lets you import all of your participant recordings into one project, and from there you can see all of the tasks the participant completed, as well as all of the markers you logged in Morae Observer. This picture is a close-up of the project pane in Manager, and you can see here how the tasks and markers are sorted according to each test participant. Manager also allows you to log new observations after the test's recording has already been completed. Perhaps as you're observing a participant, you missed something they said, but later catch it as you're watching the recording in Manager. You can add a marker at this moment, and it can be included in the marker count Morae measures. As I stated earlier, Manager uses your uploaded recordings and observations to compile the quantitative test data. You can create graphs of this data almost immediately after uploading all of your recordings. Also, when you have completed your analysis and determined your recommendations on how to improve the site's usability, you can use Morae Manager to export video clips, graphs, and data for use in a presentation. This concludes the overview of usability testing in Auburn's Idea Lab and of the Morae usability testing software. Please contact me, Melissa Flowers, if you would like additional information about the Idea Lab, Auburn, or the Technical and Professional Communication Program.